Today is April 15th, tax day, so if you haven't filed your taxes yet, you might want to get moving on that. The April 15th deadline typically applies to individuals as well as certain businesses like sole proprietors, single member LLCs with default tax treatment, and C corporations. If you're a business outside of that class, for example, multi-member LLCs taxed as partnerships or taxed as a subchapter S, or if you're an S corp, you would have filed by March 15th, or in this case for the 2025 tax season, March 16th, since March 15th landed on a Sunday. Now, it's very important that you really get the ball rolling now. E-filing is the best way to get your tax returns submitted on time, or at least hopefully on time. If you don't expect to meet the filing deadline for April 15th, file for an extension, but keep in mind, when you file for an extension, you're just extending the time you have to file a return, and you're not extending the time you have to pay any taxes that you owe. So you still owe those, and you still have to pay those by April 15th. Now, if you work with a CPA or a tax professional and you haven't gotten your returns done yet, the problem is when you're at the peak of tax season, it's very hard to get the appointment. So if you haven't gotten the appointment and you're not seeing your CPA or your tax professional, if you haven't seen them already, you're probably not going to get your returns out by the April 15th deadline. If you have a simple return, maybe they can get that e-filing in and squeeze you in. But if you have a much more complicated return, especially in cases of businesses, it might be a little bit tough. If you have to file by U.S. mail, keep in mind that the U.S. Postal Service changed the postmark rules last December. So in the past, when you dropped mail in the postal mailboxes or at your local post office, the postmark date was the date that it was in the box or dropped off at the post office. Now the postmark date reflects the date the post office facility processed the mail, and that could be the day after or even a few days later. So if you are sending out your tax returns today, April 15th, it's very possible that it may not get processed until the 16th, the 17th, maybe even the 18th, and as a result, it will be a late filing and you might be assessed a tax penalty. If you are e-filing, get it done early because you can always run into technical issues, so don't wait until the end of the day to do your filing.